Hi there, folks. This is Sam Price, and we're back for another episode of Probate Notes. And I have with me here a really interesting gentleman who has co-founded Inherited Property Match. Hi there, Rhett. This is Rhett Fruitman. Hi there, Rhett. How are you today?
Doing great. Thanks for having me.
Thanks for being on the show. Can you just tell me a bit about your background and how you got into what you're doing today?
Yes. So for context, I was working at Citibank in Los Angeles, and I was there for several years. And my father works in real estate as well, and he had two businesses. One called 1031tax.com, which helps people do 1031 exchanges and buy triple net property, which is passive income. And his other business was called Real Estate Broker Match, which would help property owners sell their existing building and then buy triple net property. So I left Citi to work with him on Real Estate Broker Match, but we quickly realized a lot of our clients were inheriting property, but the needs of our property owners that were inheriting property were very different.
So what is Inherited Property Match?
So we're a resource for heirs, trustees, executors, all of the above, and we help people navigate post the loss of a loved one, how to sell the property, how to connect them with the right resources to get through probate, to get through trust administration, and how to just get property appraised, even date of death, and eventually get the property sold and help them move on.
Why did you create Inherited Property Match?
Well, because our clients at Real Estate Broker Match were inheriting property, we quickly realized that their needs were very different than how we were serving them and just how the market was serving them in general. If someone calls us and a loved one passed away a week ago, they need help getting the property appraised. A lot of times the property is not in a trust. So, step one is figuring out the legal side of it. And all of our clients, pretty much all of them we're catching them at like probably the worst moment of their life. So to navigate grief and loss with this huge financial burden is something they all really need help with.
And so what is your process to match someone looking for a real estate broker with the seller?
First step is just getting on the phone and speaking with them. It's all hand tailored, one-on-one conversation. We're not doing algorithms and setting up crazy accounts. We'll get on the phone, and first things first, we just want to get to know them, what their situation is, what they think they want and need. Hopefully, when we speak to them, we can, ask thoughtful questions and uncover some things they're not even thinking through yet. And then just from there, setting a game plan. A lot of times, it's connecting them with an attorney if they don't have a trust admin or probate attorney, and then just figuring out what the next steps are and guiding them through it.
Are there some certain non-negotiable criteria that you're looking for when you're looking to refer and match a broker with someone searching for one?
Well, number one is extreme professionalism. Number two is very high emotional intelligence because they're dealing with a lot. And, we'll speak to clients all the time that like literally start crying on the phone. And we spoke to someone like 2 weeks ago whose spouse of 60 years passed away. And, you know, our job might be real estate, it might be business, it might be negotiation. But at the end of the day, like we're serving people and sometimes they're level-headed and sometimes they're very emotional, but I need the broker to definitely be able to meet them where they're at. Um, so that's a very important thing. I would say
Just,
that.
sorry to interrupt you, but just to speak to that for a moment, I think that the compassion and empathy side is super important. It's so easy for me as an attorney, Rhett, I talk about death and dying every day. And so for me, sometimes it becomes procedural or transactional, but I have to remember that this is sometimes the family home.
Mhm.
This is sometimes a place where it's filled with memories, and this is where someone grew up. And so this is something that we have to keep in mind as professionals that a house is just not a piece of property.
Absolutely. And that's a big difference between the business we had. We still run it, Real Estate Broker Match. But with inherited property specifically, it is a very different transaction. And, getting rid of your child at a home that you saw your parents go from 30 to 80 years old in is a very different thing. And I need to have people in my network that can understand that and appreciate that.
That's huge. I'm sorry I interrupted you, but you were going to go over some other things that were non-negotiables for your vetting.
Yeah. And, another thing is, let's say, like you would want someone that's like one of the top brokers in their office. I'd want a broker that sometimes works with like a local attorney that we work with. Like if you had someone super local to you that you've worked with 50 times, that's probably a good sign that they could help my clients. Um, yeah, someone that's just like committed, and I just need to, if I'm gonna stick my reputation and this thing that I'm working incredibly hard to build on, like I want to have full confidence they're not going to drop the ball.
So if you are a broker and you're in the space and when you're matched up with someone that is a seller, what are some best practices of what the broker can do to retain that relationship with the seller?
For number one, it's you have to understand their incentives and you have to understand, um, sometimes people's parents are sick for 5, 10 years. And like, I, candidly, it's a lot easier if you like can anticipate the death and, you could like emotionally, cope with the reality. That's a lot easier than someone just having like a heart attack randomly and dying. Part of it's understanding like their emotional well-being, their financial well-being, their financial understanding. Are they like super anxious and just like, I need to get this over with and just move on? Some people work full-time jobs and it's just like what they have to do at, 9 p.m. on a Wednesday just to keep the process moving along. Uh, so it's really just like understanding what they're getting themselves into.
Have you dealt with sellers who are looking to sell a property quickly because there's a looming foreclosure, because maybe the payments are behind, or there's a reverse mortgage where now the loan has become due?
Yeah. Those are a little more tricky. Um, it it gets complicated, as you know, because you have to figure out who actually owns it. They could come to you and say, "Sam, I need to sell this in the next 20 days." And you're like, "We have to go through California probate." Like, obviously, every state has different laws too. Um, so the laws are different in California versus Florida versus Texas versus New York. Um, so it's case by case, but it's definitely not the position you want to be in.